Very good morning to all of you. I must say thank you so much for being here on a Sunday morning, sacrificing on your snooze time, and it's great to see so many of you here in the morning, so thank you. Well, through the process of coming up with ideas of what to speak about for such a diverse audience, young but diverse audience, I've gone through this process of realizing and learning a lot about my own journey. What is it that I have gone through all the years of my life so far that has made me who I am today? And it's been very fascinating and very interesting also to learn that all the things that I've learned and experienced and all my childhood memories have kind of boiled up to making me such a passionate administrator of making creativity a way of living rather than a tool or a skill to learn. So this is what I'm going to be sharing today. But then you see, sandcastles for life. Sandcastles and creativity. What's the connection? No. Well, I was born and brought up in Chennai, and from the time I could barely walk, I've always been fascinated and I've always been ready to go to the Marina Beach, manga and uppu molaga podi, balloon shooting, cotton candy, but most importantly, sandcastle building. And this is something that I've enjoyed right from when I was 3 years old up till today. So, looking back at all the childhood memories, I've realized that I've always been very, very interested in outdoor play. That's the first photograph that I have of me playing in the beach, and that's me by a stream. I love animals and I love trekking and hiking. I've been fortunate to have grandparents and my mother who were very good with art and embroidery, and looking at them I used to imitate by doing my own embroidery kits also. And then as far as school is concerned, I studied in a typical matriculation school. I was expected to memorize and reproduce, which I've never been able to master. But school went by, a lot of play, study as well. I passed out as a very average student, and then I got into my undergraduate study in interior design. So this is when I really got into studying subjects that I'm interested in. College was crazy, lots of work, lots of fun as well, but the play side of it always seems to continue. The picture on the right is from my master's program at La Salle College of the Arts. I happened to pass out from my undergraduation in the Madras University as the university first rank holder. Right now, I do a lot of freelance projects, both design and art-based, and I've also gotten into education in a major way. I've been working with a lot of children, different age groups, children from international schools, children from corporation schools, children with learning disabilities, brain development issues, substance abuse, teachers who teach art, teachers who teach other subjects, parents, adults, and so on. And with all these different experiences that I've had, there's one common concern, there's one aspect that kind of goes through all these different experiences, and that is the doubt that everybody has on their mind whether we are creative or not. Now, how many of you think you're creative? Can you raise your hands? Okay, that's quite a good number, about 50%. In a regular classroom, let's say that all of you are kindergarten students right now, okay? So, I'm your teacher, I'm bringing in a fancy box of crayons, and I say, I have a fancy set of new crayons in my hand, how many of you want to use it? How many of you will put your hand up? Okay, that's pretty much everybody. Now, let's come back to reality. Your college students, your school students, working professionals, I bring a box of crayons and say, Sunday morning, remember, Sunday morning, I bring you a box of crayons and say, how many of you want to use these crayons today? Now, how many hands go up? 20%? Alright. Now, it could even be the simple question of asking a kindergarten class, how many of you think you are creative? And every single hand will go up without a doubt. But let's say we take that to a university class and I ask the same question again. There would be 2 or 3 hands going up right away, and then another 2 or 3 thinking, okay, I think I could be creative, but I can't draw. does that mean I'm creative or not? And then the guys are thinking, oh, creativity, I see a lot of girls there, maybe I shouldn't be there. And then somebody else is thinking, oh, creativity is just not mainstream, so I shouldn't be raising my hands in the first place. So what is it that happens between kindergarten and a university classroom that makes us go from, I am 100% sure I'm creative, to saying, no, I don't think so, or saying, no, definitely not, or say, I don't care. Right? There must be something happening. Now, there was a test that was conducted in the year 1968, that's a long time back, with more than 1,500 children, and it was a creativity-based test, and the results are alarming. So it says that a 5-year-old is at its peak of its creativity at 98%, and then when the child becomes 10 years old, creativity goes down to 30%, and when it goes up to 18 plus, it comes down to 2%. So from 98% at 5 years old to 2% as an adult is quite crazy. So what really happens? Now, I must have used the word creativity about 15-20 times so far, and I'm sure a lot of you must be thinking, what the hell is creativity, right? But that's the whole idea behind creativity. Each of us can define creativity in a very different way. You have the social media and forums talking so much about creativity these days. The most watched talks in TED by Sir Ken Robinson, by IDEO, and all those are all based on creativity. You find all these Calvin and Hobbes cartoon strips and so many discussions happening on creativity. And then you have dictionary references and so on. But for a simple question, like for example, how do I become more creative? The answer is quite difficult to find. According to me, I firmly believe that creativity is just about joining dots, right? So you have a lot of stuff that you know already, a lot of things that we've learned and that we will be learning. And creativity is all about creating these different joining these different dots together. Now, when we're talking about connecting the dots, that brings us to the whole concept of the left and the right brain. I'm sure a lot of you know this. We have a left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. Now, is there anybody here who has only one side of the brain? No, right? Okay. My question, there is a meaning behind it. The left side of the brain is in charge of science, logic, reasoning, and so on, math. Whereas the right side of the brain is in charge of everything to do with creativity, passion, love, expression, poetry, music, and so on. Now, our education system, the one that we are all products of, was designed more than 200 years ago. And that education system was designed to produce people who are effective followers of the system. I repeat, followers of a system. Whereas in today's world, we really don't need followers because we have computers to do that. What we really need are leaders, right? So our education system really doesn't acknowledge the right side of the brain, let alone flaunt it, let alone explore it and exploit it for all the opportunities that the right side of the brain has. Now, I'm not saying forget the left side. Left side's boring. I only want the right side. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying a successful creative individual will learn to use both sides of his brain together in equal measure. Now, I'm going to do a quick activity just to liven you guys up a bit. This is called a brain gym activity. I want all of you to put out one hand right in front of you, okay? And look at your hand and draw a sleeping 8 and follow your hand. Look at your hand and draw an 8 with any one hand, your dominant hand, either right or left. Did you do that? If you're doing it with your dominant hand, it must be easy. Alright? Now, switch hands, the other hand, and do the same again. Okay, now I want you to try both hands together. We aren't swaying to the music. It's supposed to be. Okay, now this is just a quick activity to see how you can actually trigger the usage of both your left and right brain. An Indian way of doing the same activity, which I'm sure most of you would have done at home, is this. Can you try? puja plate in one hand, bell on the other hand. If you do this to the puja plate, you know what's going to happen. Okay, so there are small things like this. This is a physical activity, but there are a lot of activities that we can do in order to trigger the left and the right brain. Now, about the left and the right brain and education, I'm going to go into the area of children, alright? The education system and technology, the way it's affecting children is quite scary. This is, the picture on the left is a sticker that I got from an exhibition at Singapore, and it's very freaky because there's a little child inside a glass sphere. There are only pipes connecting input, output. The child is playing with a PlayStation, alright? And the child is absolutely cut off from the outside world. And I'm afraid to say that this is actually true in a lot of children today. They don't have soft skills, they don't have communication skills, they're very bad with social skills and so on. They're not allowed to play outdoors. Playing in the sand is no longer fun, it's very dirty, right? Getting your hands messy is no longer fun, it's definitely wrong. So all the right things are actually being cut off. Right? It should be the other way around. They must be allowed to play outside. They must be allowed to explore all their different motor skills. The other is with regard to teaching methodology. Let's say I'm an art teacher. I walk into a class and I say, I want all of you to draw an apple today. And then the next minute, I go in, look at the students' work and I say, that's wrong. I'm not making any sense whatsoever because there isn't one way of drawing an apple. Every child in the class can draw an apple in his or her own way, right? So what I'm trying to say is that teaching methodology has a lot of effect in terms of the learning as well. And then when you look at adults, adults face a major fear of judgment with regards to creativity, irrespective of what field you are in. Creativity is not drawing and painting. I want all of you to understand that creativity is just not about drawing and painting, it's about every single thing that you do. Adults have a fear of judgment, and secondly, when it comes to creativity being so much talked about these days, the essence itself is lost because of all the stereotypes that you're put into. Now we're going to be doing a quick activity to understand this difference. I want all of you to take a piece of paper and a pen and draw a little triangle anywhere on the paper. Okay? Are you done? Now, I'm going to give you 30 seconds exactly. I want you to basically complete the image in any way you like. But the triangle should be a part of your drawing. That's it. Start. Remember, this is supposed to be a creativity test, so we are not expecting stereotypes. I want you to think creatively. Alright, 10 more seconds to go. I'm giving you a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pens down. This is supposed to be in 30 seconds, so pens down. Alright, now I want you to quickly show your neighbor your piece of paper. And a lot of happy faces, giggles. Good to see. Alright, how many of you drew a house? Raise your hands. That's 50% of the audience. How many of you drew a paper boat? Okay, how many of you drew a rocket? Nice, okay. Is there anything really crazy that has come out of it?
A dog.
A dog? Okay, that's quite cool. Yes?
I don't know what I've drawn.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, I conducted the same test with people of different age groups over the last couple of days, and I'm guessing that you may not be able to see it, but there were quite a few fascinating pieces that I got. My favorite one was done by a lady who's about 64 years old, and she started off with a triangle, and then it went on to the view that she sees when she's sitting down at her dining table every day. And it was amazing because it was basically the shape of the trees, the neem tree outside her house. That was what she drew. And then there was another kid who drew a tortoise shell with a triangle on the shell. So it's amazing how different people see things differently, but the other fascinating thing is to see that a lot of times, like the house for example, it looks exactly the same. If you see, there are a few houses that I've put in. The age difference is crazy. There's a 4-year-old and a 55-year-old drawing a house in the exact same way, which isn't really right. Right? Now, this is a test that you can do quite often in terms of lateral thinking as well, to see how many different things you can come up with. And this shows to us how we are actually taught to think only in a particular way. Right? Even if we want to be creative, if we want to think of something else, a lot of times it doesn't come naturally to us. So I'm going to be focusing on how to get rid of that. First of all, we need to realize that creativity is all around us. How many of you pick your own clothes to wear in the morning? We all do, right? Isn't that creativity? You're not wearing the same thing every single day. You pick your own clothes, you rearrange your desk, and so on. Right? That's creativity. The invention of the Velcro. A person just walks into the field with his dog, he sees seeds sticking onto his socks, and he realizes, with a microscope, with a magnifying glass, when he looks at it, he realizes that the seed has hook-like elements clinging onto the dog's fur. Now, he could have easily just dusted off the seeds and walked past, right? It was because he took the efforts to see why those seeds are clinging onto the dog's fur that led to the invention of the Velcro. These are a couple of my most favorite quotes. One is by Steve Jobs, and he says that creativity is all about connecting things that are seemingly unconnected. And the other is by Picasso, where he says every child is an artist. It just matters whether you remain one once you grow up. So with that, what I am trying to say is that there are two main aspects as far as living a conscious creative life is concerned. One, and the most important one, is curiosity, and the second is play. I think it's very important for all of us to have a genuine curiosity about everything around us. It could be the most mundane things, but how can you expect yourself to connect things unless and until you gain a basic understanding about things around you? And you need to broaden your horizon. If you're doing engineering, it doesn't mean that you stick to your subjects. Move on to literature, move on to liberal arts, and learn as much as you can in order to broaden your horizon. Secondly, play. I think it's very, very important to keep playing, and playfulness is very, very important at any point of time in life. The other thing that my father always tells me is that I take meaning out of this image, which is a Hindu symbolic image with a god with a lot of faces and a lot of hands holding different tools. It's not enough if you just have one or two skills or tools that you can use. Skill development is very, very important. You need to keep constantly learning more skills and learn how to use a lot of different tools that will give you the kind of power and strength in order to make a lot more connections. Simple everyday things like these can, as far as your curiosity is triggered, can make you a lot more sensitive and satisfied with everyday life. Some of the best designs are all good examples of curiosity and play, like these. Through this process, it's quite fascinating, like I said at first, for me to kind of look back at my own life and see how things have pretty much been the same ever since I was young till today. That's the first image that I showed, and this was taken a year ago. It's pretty much the same. That's me then, and that's me now. Earlier it was a cat, now it's an elephant. I've just moved on to more bigger things. So more than anything else, I think curiosity, play, and skill development is very, very important. So please remember, be curious, always play. Being childish is not wrong. Always remember, sandcastles are for life. Thank you.